Good morning, everybody. I would like to thank the organizers here today for giving me this unique and wonderful opportunity to address you. I'm also sending greetings from my national president, Mike Langford. He couldn't be here today, but he's a strong alliance partner, and he wanted to make sure that he sent his greetings to you. I also wish to welcome folks who are not from the area, not from Detroit, maybe from out of state or from another country. I want to welcome you to Detroit, the home of the automobile, the birthplace of Motown, the birthplace of techno music as well. And it's also becoming, for the folks, you got it, it's also becoming for the folks who may not know this, a center of urban farming. Detroit used to have a population of 1.8 million. Significantly reduced that through a lot of migration out of the city and hard hit in manufacturing, and is now becoming, the land is becoming sustainable to a lot of varied agricultural initiatives, both in organic farming as well as supporting a lot of local food sources. So that's something you may not know. When I look at assessing the nation's current state in regards to a comprehensive approach to addressing climate change and creating new energy policy, I have to tell you that as a nation we are failing. And we are failing to invest in our future, our children's future, and our children's children's future. We tried 2 years ago to take a comprehensive approach to addressing climate change, didn't quite make it. But that doesn't mean we can afford to stop trying. Change in America, as a lot of us in this room know, comes slowly. Came slowly for African Americans, came slowly for women, and it came slowly for workers. And if America is going to position itself as a leader in a new energy economy, then it must first address climate change in a comprehensive and coherent manner. The question is, does America have the will? If we don't work together to effect change in November, change will come much slower and at a higher price. In America, we're blessed with abundant natural resources. God has given us wonderful renewable resources, including those that are truly sustainable. There are places in this country where the wind never stops blowing, the sun never stops shining. So there's no reason for us not to act, because like it or not, change is coming, right? It's undoubtedly true that we're in a global economic transformation, one that will result in the emergence of a new economy based on carbon reduction. And transitions are difficult, and they're difficult for workers who will be affected by this change. But they deserve to be treated in a manner that ensures their economic stability and during this transition and beyond. Today, we are being forced to grapple with climate change and climate change mitigation strategies as a people globally, as a nation, and as a labor movement. The utility workers know that better than most anybody else. It's no secret to our alliance partners that we represent a significant amount of members who work either directly or indirectly in fossil fuel electric generating stations. These jobs are high-skilled, well-paying family and community-supporting jobs. And so transitioning from a high-carbon energy sources presents major challenges to labor in those carbon-intensive industries like power. The major challenge is representing the immediate interests of our members and some who are looking at a job loss as a result of that transition to a lower carbon economy and balancing the here and now concerns with longer-term social and environmental concerns. This is why we have developed and are continuing to develop policies that serve the long-term interests of our members. We want to work in concert with those of our partners instead of the narrow interests of the industry we work in. The utility, thank you. Utility workers have been working hard over the last several years to balance the short-term employment interests of our members with the long-term effects of climate change on jobs and workers. But one thing is for certain, though. We have a universal interest in protecting our planet and workers. That is why we are an alliance partner of the Blue-Green Alliance, because we know for sure that both can be accomplished, and quite frankly, both need to be accomplished. There is no reason why one must be traded for the other. Indeed, we will not accept that trade-off. Mike, we may not always agree on the best policy to follow, but we all agree on where we are going. A transition towards a more environmentally friendly, sustainable economy will have different benefits for different energy sectors. That is where jobs are created, where jobs are going to be replaced, and where jobs cease to exist, and this is where the greatest need for adaptations and coherent social policies exist. Green jobs are what are being touted as a way out of this recession, and that's for a very good reason. But it's important to set priority to policy that ensures that green jobs occur in the high road and not the low road of low-paying, low-quality jobs. Not only are green jobs considered a way to stimulate economic growth and get people back to work, but they're also considered necessary for the future and the health of this planet. But as Good Jobs First pointed out in their briefing paper in February 2009, it is usually assumed that green jobs are good middle-class paying jobs. But at times, that's not the case. Job pay and job quality varies greatly across energy sectors. That is also proving true in the EU, where there's some evidence that indicates that the decent jobs are found in areas where large corporations are involved in renewables. For medium and small employers, many of these jobs are being marginalized. This is a real concern, and a real concern on impact in women in the workforce in the EU. We acknowledge that the U.S. does not have a history of a coherent energy policy that takes into account worker interests during economic transformation. However, the magnitude of what is to occur without a concerted global effort to significantly reduce carbon emissions calls for one, and it is incumbent upon the Blue-Green Alliance and its partners to articulate what that coherent industrial policy should be and advocate for worker-friendly policies on a state-by-state and national level. Although Europe has benefited from a process that accepts input from social partners, when crafting policy, there is no other organization quite like the Blue-Green Alliance, which brings together 14 million people under an umbrella of labor and environmental working together for common cause. Utility workers believe that a coherent national policy that benefits all workers includes rebuilding the infrastructure to modernize for greater efficiency, training and retooling of the workforce for the energy technologies of the future. The U.S. energy industry is expected to experience a large amount of retirements over the next several years, and that provides opportunities for new skills and lifelong learning. Also, maximizing existing technologies to increase efficiencies and invest in carbon-neutral generation and developing promising technologies. And lastly, to protect and extend the democratic, transparent, and accountable regulatory framework to protect workers, customers, encourage energy conservation, and reward the use of sustainable energy sources. This also means, from a public policy point of view, that a skilled workforce and family-supporting jobs is an infrastructure investment and needs to be taken into account when we talk about sustainability. Taking a page out of the Labor and Climate briefing paper by Tim Costello and the Labor Network for Sustainability, the UWA is focused on some key themes about climate change and its impact to workers. Number one, climate change mitigation policies are inevitable and they will cause change. We must explore the positive aspects of this change. The massive new investments is needed to completely transform the energy and transportation infrastructure in this country, and that has the possibility of creating millions of new jobs. We must confront the negative aspects of this change on work, industries, and the communities, and the workers who live in these communities, and develop plans that reskill workers and uncouple job loss from employment loss. We must ensure that green jobs are good jobs, the labor and employment standards are developed as a matter of good public policy. Developing policies and programs that contain different approaches to carbon reduction and a just transition for workers and the communities they live in is crucial, including preventing offshoring of carbon. In closing, so when we say that we are advocating to create green jobs, we must also be certain that we are creating good jobs and decent jobs. As we advocate for public policy that provides for a sustainable, environmentally friendly economy, we are also advocating for sustaining high-quality jobs. Utility workers are confident that we, as social partners, advocate for these changes. We will have left this planet a better place for our children, and brothers and sisters and friends and associates and allied partners, there's no better work that we can do when we leave this world. I wish to thank you for your attention. I appreciate the opportunity to address you this morning, and I wish everybody have a great conference. I know it's a wonderful agenda. Thank you.